Welcome, guys, to another episode of
Whoa,
The
whoa,
Moon.
why would you assume that guys are watching?
Guys and girls and everything in between.
What people's preferred gender pronouns are. So, folks, if you could just let us know what your preferred gender pronouns are down in the description below. Mine are Zim Sir. What are your preferred gender pronouns?
He, his.
These cisgenders. Anyways, folks, welcome to another episode of aMillionortheMoon. We have our wonderful sponsors behind us, definitely all up and running, functioning, no problems whatsoever. We have a very interesting video to bring y'all because we want to comment on what kind of we've been noticing, me and Messin, increasingly noticing outside people, journalists, start to realize that cryptocurrency is a thing, a decade or so later. And what I'm noticing is a lot of rehashed arguments that were had and settled a decade ago that people, journalists, a lot of, unfortunately, people on the left, media figures on the left side of things, are unfortunately, in my opinion, wrongly dismissing crypto as some kind of scam. And so there's this one video by Matt Stoller on Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar.
And before we start, guys, yes, we're taking a very, very, very hard political turn on this channel. This is gonna be the ultimate political channel to ever exist, and we should just go hard, like left, right, whatever makes sense, whatever brings the most money, just like all these guys that have been scamming. I heard a lot happened with Celsius recently. Is there anything going on?
No, I think it's perfectly fine. I don't think there's anything wrong.
Okay, all right. So yeah, man, show us what do you got? I feel like you're kind of angry, and I do want you to be able to express it, right? Because that's where we're at in this day and age. Doesn't matter, we don't need to really get the job done. It's just a matter of how we're feeling about the job and how our feelings are being expressed as we move forward. You get what I'm saying? Fuck the job. It's how we're feeling about it.
I completely agree with you. So, why don't we hear out Matt Stoller and
who's this guy?
Well, he'll let us know right about now.
On this big break. Hi, I'm Matt Stoller, author of Monopoly-focused newsletter Big, and an antitrust policy analyst. Now, I have a great segment for you today on this big break.
By the way, Manufacturing Consent, best book I've ever read. Everyone needs to read that book. It should be mandatory curriculum in high school, in my opinion.
But okay,
anyways, let's keep going.
I want to talk to you today about crypto. Now, I get a lot of notes from people saying, hey, Matt, you hate monopolies, you hate corruption, you should love Bitcoin, you should love crypto. We're fighting against concentrated financial power, just like you are. We're just doing it in a different way. Well, with Bitcoin prices,
there's absolutely nothing wrong with crypto, and I cannot even think of one example of crypto failing. I don't think there's ever been anything even slightly wrong.
Right, like Mt. Gox, like what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's ever been anything that big.
Right.
I don't know what this guy's problem is, but let's continue to hear him out.
All right.
Crashing, crypto crashing, and a lot of people getting wiped out over the last 6 months. I figured now is as good a time as any to talk about it. So what is crypto? Why are so many people into it? And why is it all collapsing?
He's probably a hedge fund investor, huh?
The best way to tell the story is to start with a historical metaphor. In the early 1920s, known sometimes as the Roaring '20s,
right,
a wave of speculation occurred around land in Florida. Now, this was just after World War I, a war that caused mass disillusionment, millions of Americans who no longer believed their government would do anything for them. There was easy money from the Federal Reserve, few rules on Wall Street, and a raging culture war that disguised the economic choices of elites. Sounds pretty familiar. Anyway, Florida land was the perfect get-rich-quick scheme for this moment. The state of Florida looked like the future, but Florida was also far enough away from most people in the Midwest and New York that investors couldn't easily investigate their holdings. So speculators gambled massively on Florida land, and the mania became insane, just crazy. So to illustrate, there was one speculation, sort of speculative fervor over land lots in the city of Nettie, Florida. And Nettie, Florida was a city which later turned out not to exist. So eventually the bubble popped. We had a lot of tears and litigation and a Great Depression. Okay, so with that metaphor, let's talk crypto. What are cryptocurrencies? Well, cryptocurrencies are a social movement based on the belief that markings in a ledger on the internet have some sort of intrinsic value. The organizers of these ledgers call these markings Bitcoin or Ethereum or other names based on the specific ledger. The ledgers have slightly different technical characteristics, but those differences are not that important.
Yeah. Hold up.
Let's pause it there.
Hold up, man.
There's slight differences, but the differences are not that important.
Matt, this is what happens. Matt, if you're watching this, which I know you probably don't, because why? You probably don't even do your research, so you won't research anything. But Matt, that's what happens when you read off a teleprompter, man. No one did whoever wrote the script for you should be fired, man.
No, but you see, you're not understanding. You're failing to not understand that there's no difference between Bitcoin and Dogecoin, Bitcoin and Celsius, Ethereum and Mt. Gox. There's absolutely no difference, and the differences aren't.
And it's because they're social. It's a social movement. Crypto's a social movement. Just like
movement with no differences.
Yeah, just like free the nipples and all that.
Right.
That's it. That's what they are. There's no magic. It's not money, though it has money-like properties. And sure, the technology behind the
sounds like the dollar, man.
It's not money, but it has money-like properties.
Just like the dollar.
Interesting.
But crypto is a movement fundamentally based on energetic storytellers who spin fables about a utopian future to come and use this kind of neat ledger technology as part of that story. So perhaps the most important storyteller is crypto billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried, one of Time magazine.
Okay, I have to pause. This is so funny because these noobs who know nothing about crypto, they think that the head of these exchanges are like thought leaders in crypto when they're not.
They're like they're our leaders.
Yeah, like we're hanging on their every word, like this guy, the Sam Bankman-Fried, and who else?
Which recently was on a podcast which we just watched. He was literally talking about how how well Ponzi schemes work and how you can actually make money out of something that intrinsically has no value. So that's what these guys are cherry picking for this argument, man.
This guy is not a thought leader. He's not an example of the leader.
Especially with that hairdo, man.
Which is what they're trying to paint him as.
Time magazine's 100 most influential people of 2022. He's been profiled by the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, the New York Times. He's the head of a centralized entity. Centralized entities are hated in crypto. They're just a necessary evil needed for onboarding. That's it. He's not a thought leader. He has sort of crazy hair, and he wears shorts and a t-shirt to brand himself to politicians and regulators as goofy and friendly, worth between 10 and $20 billion these days. Now, that's not all. I mean, crypto is sort of sitting in a larger context. Fueling crypto is cheap money from the Federal Reserve, which has printed $7-8 trillion over the last 10 years, and until recently had dropped interest rates to near zero. That's a lot of cheap money going around that you can borrow and speculate with. Now, because of the actions of federal officials like Ben Bernanke.
By the way, just real quick, that I would agree with, but that's also the case for any investment market. It's the same case for the stock market, the commodity market. So he's trying to paint the case that crypto is unique, while the same faults in the crypto market exist with any other market.
Just like you said, just has many like properties, but it's not really money.
Yeah. Well, crypto was propped up by quantitative easing just as much as the stock market was.
Which is talking right here. People borrowed cheap money and they gambled on all sorts of assets, from old sneakers to Magic the Gathering cards to financial scams called SPACs to unprofitable firms in the stock market, private equity. Yes, also crypto. Now, the Fed is really important. There's a reason that Elon Musk was worth $20 billion before the pandemic and was worth $340 billion late last year.
Don't say it's Bitcoin,
and it's not
man.
because Tesla was selling more cars. It's because the Fed pushed up asset values during the pandemic everywhere.
Which is true.
So in this context, cryptocurrencies are like the Florida land that no one ever intends to use. It has value in the moment it is traded, but only because there's a collective belief that it has some intrinsic worth. And because...
Same thing with every other investment vehicle.
People are gambling over everything. Someone is willing to buy crypto assets just like they were willing to buy the Florida land, even though there's really nothing there. Okay, but that's not all. There's also a politics behind crypto, and that politics is actually pretty similar to the politics of this show. It's populist. Bitcoin was created on January 3rd, 2009, right in the middle of the bailouts. And inscribed in the code of Bitcoin itself is a newspaper headline about bank bailouts. Now, it's not actual populism. It's sort of a a weird kind of sort of inverted populism. But there's a broad questioning of the legitimacy of our existing order. And crypto proponents believe that the existing financial regime is a collusive arrangement between large banks supported with government power. Their view is that money laundering, tax evasion, criminal activity, and fraud are fine as long as you are an insider in the system. And the Federal Reserve and other government institutions will not only stop corrupt insiders, but will subsidize and bail them out if necessary. Meanwhile, the rest of us have to live with foreclosures, high interest rates on credit cards, high fees for middlemen in every aspect of the economy, student loans, and so on and so forth. And how could you disagree with that critique? You can't. So if you toss kind of allegations at crypto, oh, this is fraudulent, they're like, well, so is everything in finance. How dare you? But whereas the liberal democratic response, that's what I believe in, is to have the government create rules for markets. The crypto response is to build a non-government currency technology to root around this corrupt political order. And this is framed in the name of consumer choice, as in the state shouldn't be able to boss you around and tell you what you can do with your money, and neither should banks. After all, it's your money. And anyone who doesn't buy into this idea is inherently defending a set of collusive, bailout-friendly institutions that we sometimes call liberal democracy. Okay, so that's the politics of crypto. There's a reasonable...
Cryptocurrency is not a monolith. I mean, cryptocurrency is decentralized software. I mean, he's trying to lump...
It's literally an agreed-upon code that we don't need politicians and bank, tellers to apply. It's just an agreed-upon code.
Yeah, he's trying to overlay a political ideology onto a piece of software. It's like developers, people within it. It's not a monolith. There's a wide-ranging philosophical and political opinions.
So maybe, I don't know if we want to play the whole video. I feel like he's going to be saying the same thing. I don't know what I don't know what his end point is. What is he trying to say with all this?
He's saying that crypto is ultimately a scam.
That's what he's trying to say right now?
Yeah, and I think there's some good parts later on here. Maybe we can
let's see.
A little bit ahead here.
Financial system. So Twitter, for example, is full of stories like this. Here's a customer of Coinbase, one of the largest and most quote-unquote credible crypto exchanges, and he can't get his money out. Now, banks will rip you off for the fees. They'll charge you something you don't.
Again, so he's criticizing the centralized exchanges for having high fees, for basically being shitty, for not giving you your crypto. And he's saying that therefore crypto needs regulation. Well, I would agree with you. Everyone in crypto hates the centralized exchanges. No one likes them. Again, they're just a necessary evil to help people onboard into the space. And so my problem with his approach is that he doesn't seem to distinguish, or maybe he doesn't even understand, that there's a difference between centralized crypto exchanges and blockchain technology. He doesn't seem to understand that there's a difference there. I would agree that centralized crypto exchanges should be regulated. That way they don't just steal their users' crypto. But I don't think he seems to understand. He seems to conflate the two, that blockchain technology, the decentralized software, and the centralized corporate entities like Coinbase are the same thing. No, they're different.
Right.
And I don't think he seems to realize
overdraft
that.
fee or whatever. But you get your money, not crypto exchanges.
Go back.
Not having rules is money out. Now, banks will rip you off for the fees. They'll charge you something you don't, overdraft fee or whatever. But you get your money, not crypto exchanges. Not having rules sounds great.
Yeah, we agree crypto exchanges suck.
Until it doesn't.
Crypto exchanges are not blockchain technology. The two are completely separate. I think most people in crypto would agree that centralized crypto exchanges should be regulated to protect their users. Everyone would agree with that. But, the corporate entity Coinbase is not the same as Bitcoin's decentralized ledger. It's different.
Right.
And they shouldn't be regulated
and
the
the
same
culture of around crypto, while sort of spouting lots of words like freedom and liberty, is not good. Here's Michael Saylor, the CEO of a firm called MicroStrategy, and Saylor briefly became a Bitcoin billionaire. Now watch this clip and you'll see Saylor get crazier and crazier and more obviously trying to pull people into a scam.
Hold on, but before we hear what Michael Saylor has to say, that's very important what he just said there. He said Michael Saylor is trying to convince people to go into a scam. So he just showed his hand. He's saying Bitcoin is a scam. While he's trying to beat around the bush and and he's arguing for areas and where regulation, government oversight could be helpful within crypto. He ultimately just revealed his hand there and said what he truly believes. He said Bitcoin is a scam. And again, he's trying to introduce Michael Saylor as some kind of thought leader within crypto. Michael Saylor is a Bitcoin maximalist. Aside from a dozen people, no one in crypto is a Bitcoin maximalist. Most people in crypto disagree with Michael Saylor. Like, he's not some thought leader that represents the crypto industry. And the fact that this guy's such a noob to crypto, he's bringing up the CEO of FTX and Michael Saylor as examples of like thought leaders within the crypto space, just shows how detached he is from what's truly going on in crypto. But let's hear what Michael Saylor has to say.
Use of time is, how do I buy more Bitcoin? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business that's in your family for 37 years and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin. So what I would say is, use all your time to acquire Bitcoin, finance entities and weaker currencies to buy Bitcoin, or educate yourself on why this makes sense if you're not sure, and then educate everybody around you. If you're working for a company that's got $100 million in the treasury, you ought to convince the CEO and the board of directors to convert the treasury to Bitcoin. That's the most creative thing you can do.
My problem with this is that he's saying Bitcoin instead of Ethereum. Do the same thing with Ethereum, you'll make more money.
Dude, that'd be worth billions to them.
That guy's like an opinion leader in this space, and you can see
he is not an opinion leader. There is like a handful of Bitcoin maximalists who like Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is just popular because he's very rich and very vocal about Bitcoin, but he's not an opinion or thought leader. There's like outside of a couple Bitcoin maximalists, which is like 5% of the crypto space.
That is a mix of a cult and a Ponzi scheme, right? Okay, so that's the culture of Bitcoin. That's writ large the culture of crypto, and Bitcoin and crypto.
I would agree that there's large elements of the Bitcoin community that is toxic. I'd agree with that because they're largely maximalists.
Are slightly different, but I'm lumping them in together because they're not that different. Okay. Now the thing is recently the price of Bitcoin has collapsed.
Number goes down. Scan confirmed.
And there's a reason for this. It's not just a speculator just got tired. It was prompted by the failure of two major crypto institutions because there are no rules. The first was something called Terra Luna, and
wrong. Bitcoin started crashing well before Terra Luna collapsed. You okay there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here. Right. This is I really feel like this guy's the latest, the laziest journalism or reporting I've ever seen in my life, man. Like, this is actually shameful. This is not even just because we're in crypto, by the way. This is just because it's just very lazy. There's such a surface level. We just found crypto and we don't really know what it is, but we don't like it. It's something new that we're not familiar with, and we're old because we definitely have gray hair, and we're reading off a teleprompter, and we're trying to fake laugh and cherry pick, random people that no one likes within the crypto space, and we're trying to, maximize all the vulnerabilities in the system, while ignoring everything and all the recession and the inflation that's been happening, also printing money out of thin air all of a sudden is not a scam. That's not some sort of corrupt move by a government that's supposed to protect the economy and protect the people, right? But crypto, on the other hand, if you print money out of thin air there, then it's a scam. To me, this is some lazy shit, and I think honestly, even the people that listen to this guy, he's talking to older people right now. There's no way he's talking to the younger generation. Like, this is straight up him talking to people that have no clue what crypto is and probably don't even know.
The people that agree with him would be that, yeah. But
100%. Yeah, but there's no way this is a well-informed piece of news that we got here, man. This guy, did he just stumble upon crypto?
Rehashing arguments that were.
Did you just stumble upon crypto? Did you just find out about crypto? We went through these arguments 10 years ago.
This guy's a decade late. So so far what we've heard is he's trying to claim that the distinctions between the different cryptocurrencies don't matter, but those small distinctions is everything. It's the distinction between Bitcoin and Terra Luna is massive. It's those small nuances are everything. That's what brings the intrinsic value. Those small nuances is the difference between something that's a pump and dump and something that has longevity. So him trying to dismiss those differences is him trying to lump crypto all together as being a scam, while those differences really do matter. Number two, he's trying to conflate centralized entities with decentralized cryptocurrency. And he's trying to make them seem the same thing. Oh, centralized exchanges are bad, therefore decentralized crypto is also bad. No. Everyone in crypto hates centralized exchanges. We all agree they're terrible and they should be regulated in order to protect their users. But there's a difference between the decentralized blockchain, the ledger, and the corporate entity of Coinbase. So two completely different things that he's trying to conflate. And he's also trying to bring problematic people such as the founder of FTX and Michael Saylor as like thought leaders within the crypto space that represent the politics and the views of most people. No, those people are on the fringe. Nobody except a handful of Bitcoin maximalists like Michael Saylor. I mean, overall, there is a positive disposition because he's overall supportive of crypto, and that's a good thing. But he's a maximalist, meaning he doesn't see the value in other cryptocurrencies such as altcoins. The vast majority of people see the value in altcoins. And so these people are not thought leaders. He's trying to conflate things and compare things where they don't make sense. And he's ignoring the nuances that make something that define the difference between a pump and dump and something with longevity. So
we're talking all this shit while we have BlockFi, SafeMoon, Celsius, Terra Luna, Mongox, BitConnect,
yeah.
You know, all these scam behind us. That's obviously a joke, guys. But look, man, that's the importance of do your own research, because we clearly have Matt Stoller here who really failed and explaining what his position is. And unless you're stupid, illiterate person that can't read and can't do proper research, you would believe what he's saying, and you would ignore all the faults we got in our economical system itself, man, and whatever we're happening with corruption and inflation and the recession that's coming up. If you really believe what this guy's saying, then you got a bigger problems to deal with, man. And those are the people that buy in after 20 years, asking if should I buy or sell. Whenever
this guy's our exit liquidity, but like. It's unfortunate because people who don't know crypto, we're intimately involved with crypto. We understand the nuances. We get that there's things like scams, like what we have in our background, and things that aren't scams, things that are built to have longevity, like Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Those things have long-term staying power because they have intrinsic value.
Right.
But then again, there's other things that don't. And it's understanding those differences that leads one to have success or not in the space. While Matt over here is trying to dismiss the fact that there's any differences. One of the first things he said is that these differences don't matter. No. Those little nuances are everything. It's the difference.
They're not little nuances either, man. Proof of work and proof of stake are completely different scenarios.
He's trying to conflate the two. He's trying to make Bitcoin and Coinbase the same thing. They should be regulated to the same extent because there's issues with Coinbase. Therefore, Bitcoin should be regulated to the same extent. No. There's nuances here, and the differences matter. They shouldn't be.
Bro, this is so stupid that I really cannot even. I don't even know where to start with.
Should we continue here? I mean, we're like.
I don't even know. We're already at 26 minutes, man. I mean, like, I don't want we don't want to really like. I mean, it's pretty clear, guys, what the position is right now. It's kind of sad to see it, but again, man, politicians will do what politicians will do. News outlets, news media outlets will do whatever they do and misconstrue what the message is. And manipulate the information for their own sake, and that's what crypto actually takes us out of. I think crypto's power, and I think crypto's a revolution, man. So hold my hand, hold Brendan's hand. We're going to the moon, man. We're called aMillionortheMoon. We didn't get to the million yet. We're definitely not on the moon yet, but we're on the way somewhere, man. Yeah, I think we're in the way. And what's what the guy says? What's a big connect?
Look, it's like this guy saw that BitConnect video and then thought, "Oh, this is all of crypto."
Hey,
look,
bro.
Guys, I gotta be honest with you. We're gonna wrap this video up soon. It's pretty long, but the thing that prompted at least my urge to kind of begin talking about this in comments
is because you're a lefty and you're finally waking up to what the left is doing. And we are taking a very hard turn with politics on the channel, guys, and that's what it is.
Hard right wing. No, but guys, look, no, I'm noticing that left wing media is starting to become more and more entrenched into being anti-crypto, and they don't have to be. I saw over the last couple of years how, you know, left wing media used to be kind of open-minded to crypto, and they're becoming more and more anti-crypto, which in my opinion is the complete wrong stance, unnecessary. I think crypto is a tool of personal empowerment that can greatly benefit the financial lives of countless working class people. And so for the left to start becoming more and more anti-crypto, I believe is tragic, misinformed. And so that's why I kind of want to begin commenting on this kind of commentary more and more, because these people are rehashing conversations that have been figured out a decade ago, and they're just now getting around to it. So
100%. I think you're missing a PulseX icon in the back there, man. There's one more PulseX icon left.
I think there's room for one more.
Yeah, one more, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, guys, thank you guys for joining in. It's 28 minutes of fire content for you guys, man. Make sure you don't fall for any type of rhetoric that is not really well-informed or well-researched. And, I mean, it's kind of hard because all of what's happening online.
Everything you hear online, face value, do no research yourself.
Yeah, why? What happened with Mt. Gox? Like, what was that?
I don't know.
I heard they had
anything wrong with any of these. I think they're perfectly fine.
ApeCoin? You made a video about ApeCoin.
Yeah, and I was bearish on it, and I was correct. It crashed right after I became bearish on it.
Right.
Like and
Well, there you have it, boy.